You are now listening to CTR Media Network.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all, never lasting. Motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health, and see if we
The podcast on CTR Media Network.
That's me. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks to her, my podcast is doing great.
350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence, all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network. That's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com. Our CTR Media Network sponsors. A special thank you to our gold sponsor, Terry Coleman from Global Key Capital. Global Key Capital is a lender specializing in customized financial solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority. They strive to provide their clients with competitive pricing, unbeatable customer service, and stress-free processing. So if you are in the market for your next dream home or investment property, give Terry Coleman a call or simply visit their website at www.globalkeycapital.com. A special shout out to our silver sponsor, Business Course Academy. At Business Course Academy, they provide business education digital courses for its participants with the tools and knowledge needed to compete globally and build generational wealth. Everyone needs a map to reach their business goals today, and they have an exceptional business course creators and coaches on their team with over 30 years of experience ready to help you because they have worked with multi-million-dollar agencies as well as startups. So if you're looking for your next business course, go to businesscourseacademy.com. Thank you for your support. Thank you to our CTR Media Network sponsors. To learn more about our sponsors and CTR Media Network, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
You look for ways to make peace. It's all about having a peace of mind for me. And clutter just doesn't help the situation at all. So how did I go about trying to eliminate that thing that was trying to steal my peace of mind? So I have a spot in my house, and it's in my sitting area. It's my little girl cave. It's not real big, but it's big enough for me to sit, to watch TV, to sit and do nothing, to read a book, to do a little work if necessary, to to just unwind. It's a place in the house where if I get to it, if I walk through those doors and see that things are out of order, if I can get to that little place, my little girl cave, I can save my sanity, even if it's just for half an hour or so. But oftentimes it'll get me to the place where I can just calm down and realize that a little clutter can be corrected. And there are some things that I can do to get to a place where I'm calm again and not let this continually steal my peace. So, what is it again that triggers you? Find out what that is. Find a solution, even if it's for just a minute, because it's not worth your peace of mind. So here's my affirmation, and you can take it and frame it to work with you, whatever that trigger is for you. So I say to myself, avoiding stress is so incredibly important to me. There are things that will definitely trigger me. In my place, in my case, it's clutter. I will do all that I can to eliminate what is trying to rob me of my stability. I won't feel guilty. I'll do what's necessary to gather and to maintain a tranquil environment. Why? Because a healthy me is the best me, and I'm better all the way around when my mind is at peace.
Main level.
And welcome to Leveling Up the Podcast with Alethea Tucker. I am still here at the All-Star Authors Conference with Taria Avant, and I am blessed to just introduce some amazing people. And it's no different right now. I am so happy to have with me Karen Larkin from Karina's Design Studio. I was able to hear her last night, and she dropped some powerful nuggets to us last night. And I am so excited that she's here today to be able to share some of this with you all, my risers, my leveling up audience. So Karen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Tell us a little more about you.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I'm an interior designer with over 15 years experience, and I help men and women create peaceful and tranquil spaces that will help with creativity as well as productivity, help decrease stress and anxiety, all by improving their overall well-being.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you.
I bet you many of you never even thought about being able to improve your lives just by recreating a peaceful environment. Let me tell you, this woman has a patent on doing that, and she's going to be sharing some of that with you today. And I am so tickled. Look, I have to, in full disclosure, tell you that when I heard her last night, she was speaking to my soul, particularly when she was talking about clutter and what it does to your frame of mind, what it does to your mental. You know, at this stage in the game, we all have things messing with our mental, right? And just what she was able to do and how she even came about realizing that this was something that other people needed, and it was more than just design, okay? It had some well-being in there for your health. Tell us how you even started with this and what kind of brought you to the realization that you could really do this and create some peace for people.
Well, actually, all of it started with me first, and I shared with a lot of, well, I shared last night that I was once in a space where I felt lost, didn't have any direction, just didn't know what God was calling me to. I knew that there was a greater call and purpose for my life. I just didn't know what. And actually, in my own home, it just didn't feel right. It felt dark, cold, I felt a heaviness in my house and just couldn't pinpoint it. And I kind of gave them the story of when it all changed for me. And it changed just by taking some curtains down in my husband's office and putting up some different ones. And instantly the atmosphere shifted. I could literally feel that heaviness disappear, go away. And it was in that moment God spoke to me. This is an indication of things being redone in your life. And so I then start redoing every space in my house. And what I once felt, that heaviness, it was gone. So now I could literally feel that peace, that calmness in my space, all because I just started redoing things in my house. But in the midst of it, was when the pandemic hit, and like most of all Americans, we find ourselves confined to our homes. And so people then began to realize they hated their home. They hated their space because we never took the time to literally live in our space. It was almost just like our space is just somewhere we just sleep, eat, whatever. But we never truly lived in our space. So I start posting little things that I was doing in my own space when it came to redoing. And it started out showing people that you can actually do these things without spending a whole lot of money. And I had a few people that reached out to me and said, well, can you come do this for me? Can you come into my home? And I was like,
I wonder.
I guess so. But I had no clue. I had no clue what I was doing. Well, in 2020, during the pandemic, I was let go from my job. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. And so Karina's Design Studio was actually birthed during the pandemic, all because I started redoing things in my home. And how I knew that the call was greater was from what my clients would share with me. After I redid their space, they start sharing with me how peaceful it was, that it didn't feel the same, that their lives wasn't the same. And so I was like, okay, God, I get it. I'm not just an interior designer. I don't just decorate or create beautiful things. I literally go in and shift the atmosphere in someone's home.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is powerful. For me, clutter totally shapes how my day goes. It shapes my feelings. It shapes so much. And I too, when the pandemic started, I went from being in the office to working from home. And I was already, it just been a few years since my dad had passed. We had another death in the family. And during the pandemic, I also lost a very dear cousin who was like a sister to me. And all of that coupled with having to look at my house every day and not having it the way that I wanted it really, really led to some pretty depressing days. So last night when you talked about how changing, just by changing curtains or doing some simple things in life to really change your environment and to bring about that peace, that really hit home. And to my audience, I have to say, I know I'm not the only one who doesn't like clutter, for one, and who can use some change in their lives, to really bring about some peace. And that is awesome. So say that there's somebody out there right now who could really, really benefit from some peaceful interior designing in their life right now. What are some tips that you would give them? And of course, I'm going to ask you how they can reach out to you and get you to help them as well. So what are some tips that you could give?
Well, there are 3 factors that I spoke on last night that instantly will give you peace in your space. And one is decluttering, living in a clutter-free environment. And I like to share with people that the clutter that's in your space is the best indication of the clutter that's in your life. And when you start getting rid of the clutter in your space, then you start paying attention to the clutter that's in your life, and you
Yes.
start getting rid of clutter in your life. So they basically go hand in hand. You start decluttering your house and get rid of things, it automatically shifts to the inside, and you start getting rid of things that no longer serve you. So decluttering, and one way to do it, the best way to do it, is what I call a surface clean. Everything that you can see within your eyesight, start cleaning it out. Get rid of it. All the stuff that's on the counter, guess what? Clean it off. Get rid of it. There, there shouldn't be a whole lot of stuff on the counter.
Right.
Just small things strategically placed on the counter. So I tell people, do a surface clean. That's the best way to do piece. Then we talk about color. Identifying your color, the color that motivates you, the one that inspires you. And I told them to do an exercise where they close their eyes and they go to that place that brings them peace.
Right.
And then I told them to envision like the colors that they see, what's around them. And I said, so whatever that place is for you that brings you peace, and that color or whatever that you visualize that you see, then that's your color.
Yes.
So color, and then the last one is setting the mood. What kind of lighting do you have in your space? And we all need some type of soft lighting in our space, because that soft lighting is what sets the mood. So there's lighting by two sources, natural and artificial. So those are the three factors, the quickest way to get to create that peaceful environment is living in a clutter-free environment, your color, and setting the mood when we talk about lighting. And so as a bonus, what I did was I also, which I will share with your audience, I have what I call the fundamental five.
They call their name.
What I call the fundamental five, which is 5 essential tips that I give, or I have it in an ebook that you can do in your space without ever buying any furniture. Yes.
Oh, that's great. You're gonna be able to give them that.
Yes,
okay,
I am.
Okay,
And they can
good,
go
good.
and download it. Yes.
Awesome.
And they will have it at their fingertips.
Awesome. Now, in your interior design, you do this in, where are you based?
I'm located in a small town called Milledgeville, Georgia.
Okay.
But I do travel, and I do this as well as virtual. So I can do in person or virtual.
That's awesome. That means everybody out there can tap into Karen,
Yes.
okay? And you can get something done in your house. And so what do your virtual sessions look like? Do you work on just one section of the house, or do you do like a whole house, or whatever they design?
It's whatever they design.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is a whole house, then we're still going to break those up in segments.
Right.
But I literally, if it's virtual, we do a video call, and I literally look at your space. We talk about what it is that the main thing is what you want your space to look like, or how you envision your space, and then how you want to feel in that space.
Yes.
And then I just have a basic conversation like I'm talking with you, and I get to know my clients so I can help them better to strategize their space, to be able and give them some great things to do, to be able to create that space that they so desire.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. So she is able to do this with you in person or virtually, and she's able to basically do whatever is needed for your house. So we are definitely going to make sure you know how to reach out to her to get this information. Oh my goodness, this has been, this is awesome.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely awesome. So tell me, I know you're here at the Authors Conference.
Yes.
So have you written a book? Are you an author?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about it.
Well, I have a book right now that will be out in January or February. It's entitled Peace Within These Walls. And I'm actually teaching you or talking about interior design and using the design elements and principles to use to create once again that peaceful environment. But it's in a book, so it's a guide to creating the space that you so desire. So I'm pre-selling right now. And so you can go to peacewithinthesewalls.com and pre-order your book. But this is the beautiful thing about my book. It's a hardcover book. And as an interior designer, I use books as an accessory piece into and incorporate it into my design. So you can incorporate my book into your designs.
Into your interior design at your place. Yes. And you know, that is so true. You know, when you go in model homes and you always see that there are books out, which is something that they're really using to stage to make the home look more beautiful. So this is a book that is not only gonna make your home look beautiful, but it's gonna give you some tips on making your home beautiful. Okay, you win-win here. You win on both occasions. This is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, you know, your story of how you started out during the pandemic. Tell us more about that. Tell us what you would tell other women who are starting and wanting to become an entrepreneur, you know, and how they really have to step out and, you know, conjure up those confidence factors.
Well, one thing that I'm going to say, and this is the same thing that I tell my girls, and they're 20 and 16, is that you got to follow your heart.
Yes.
You got to follow your heart. Find your passion. And how do you find that passion? It's that thing that you talk about all the time. It's that thing that makes you excited. You wake up with it on your mind. You go to sleep with it on your mind. And you will do it for free.
Yes.
Because you love to do it. And so I just say follow your heart. And this is the thing. I worked for, you know, someone and worked for them for a few years. And then, of course, like a lot of other businesses that struggled, I was let go. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to do, interior design. But I thought, okay, I'll just do this on the side. It'll just kind of be like my side hustle. And God simply spoke to me like that if, as long as you're working for someone, the gift that I've given you, it's going to always be your side hustle. And he said,
that's powerful.
I'm a God that will never be second. So as long as you stay on somebody else's job, you're going to always put me second. So he had to shake up some things because he knew the plan and purpose that he had for my life. And so, and now I know that I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my calling. It's also my ministry. So I tell people, I don't just decorate it and make things beautiful. I literally transform people's lives. And one of my slogans, I actually have two: live in peace to be at peace. And the other one is transform your space, transform your life. And so it's much bigger than what we can see with our eyes. It's actually helping us to become who God truly, truly created us to be. And it starts with your space first.
It starts with your space first. What's in your heart? You know, what are you passionate about? And something you just said that really, really hit is, you know, as long as you're out there doing something else for somebody else, you're not really being a good steward, is basically what you're saying, over what God has given you. You know? So what is it that you're supposed to do that you're not doing? Because you're busy doing something for somebody else to help their dreams to come true while your dream is still just kind of sitting high. That's powerful, and that's definitely something to think about. Tap into your passion. Tap into your passion. Oh my goodness. Any other tips? I know that you also you are a minister's wife.
Yes,
right?
I am.
Yes,
I am. And I had to learn that through I had this misconception that ministry was, of course, getting up on Sunday morning, standing in the pulpit preaching. And a few years ago, some things happened or transitioned in my life that I realized that I was called as well, but it wasn't in the same It wasn't the same way that my husband was called. And so my ministry is to women. And I'm not, we are very, very non-traditional. Me and my husband, very non-traditional. And so it started out with he gave me Girl Power, which that's my platform. And so Girl Power covers a whole lot of stuff. But what I had to realize is what the things that God commissions me to do is not necessarily for the traditional church setting. He uses me like outside of the church.
Wow.
But if you never connect with me, or even when I do an event, you would never know, because even the title sometimes doesn't say ministry at all. But you have to be there, or you have to attend to see how God uses me. And he uses me totally different than what most people would think as far as the preacher's wife.
Right.
And of course, I'm a mother of two beautiful young ladies, 20 and 16. And so, and then me and my husband also have we do a marriage retreat, and we have not done one since the pandemic. So in 2023, we're going to start back doing those. We have a platform that called Marriage Still Matters. And so we're excited about that. And so there is just so many things. Yes, so many things. And then I have Karina's Home Decor, which is an online store where I sell home accessories. And then I have my signature candles.
This right here smells good.
So Karina's has exclusive. I think I have 5 scents, I think 5 or 6 that's exclusive only to Karina's Design Studio. So if you get one of these candles, you won't get this scent anywhere else, because they're exclusive just for Karina's Designs. Yes, and basically, even when the book, I talk about aromatherapy, and we all know aromatherapy and through bath in your house, scents are very, very, very important. And it's important too to our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health. It's scents. And so it started by leaving a candle in every design as a gift to my clients when I finished. And so as a result of it, they're like, I love that scent. Where can I get it from? And I was like, me. And so it was through that, something as simple as a gesture, for my way of just saying thank you and I appreciate you. Yes. This right here is started out as a gift, but now it is
a part of your line.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. She has an online store, y'all. And I apologize because this is a conference going on, and it's a lively conference.
Yes, so it is.
We hope that you can hear us.
And so with the store, we have candles, we got home accessories. I love pillows. I talk about pillows in my book. Also, you got to download the ebook because I talk about pillows there. So you just got to go to the store, and that website is shop.Karina's designs with an S. .com.
And we're gonna have
Good evening, and welcome to Series 2 of Relationships and Christian Dating. I am Constance Woolard, the host of the Speak Easy podcast, and tonight we have a phenomenal group of panelists, some married couples, spiritual partners. Yes, spiritual partners in Christ. We have some relationship strategists. We have another pastor that's going to be joining us later on tonight, and we're all here to have a candid discussion on date, relationships, and Christian dating. And so my first couple is called the Purpose Couple, and they are Elder Brown and Prophetess Alicia Brown of South Carolina. So good evening. How are you?
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, good evening. Good evening.
I want to say thank you, first of all, for agreeing to participate in this discussion. I thank you so much. And just kind of tell the listening audience who you are.
Well, ladies first.
Okay. Well, I am Prophetess Alicia Brown. We are the Purpose Couple. We are the Browns, known as the Purpose Couple. Together as a couple, we work with one another in ministry and also in holistic health as well. We do a lot of things so far as in balancing the mind, body, and spirit, and also in addition to speaking about the purpose of kingdom marriage as well.
Yes. We have a 501c3 nonprofit. We run together. The Carla Rose Foundation is the name of the organization. And we raise money for people that have cancer that are going the alternative holistic route for treatment. A lot of that's not covered by insurance. So we raise money to help with the cost of that, to offset some of the costs. And
Wow.
the foundation is in honor of my mother and our first wife that passed. Carla was my first wife's middle name. Rose was my mother's middle name. So we honor their memory with,
great.
with this foundation.
And, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's correct.
And so the podcast next month, we are going to be featuring breast cancer and doing a lot of things to discuss breast cancer awareness. And so I've got several experts lined up. And that's one of the common themes I'm hearing is resources. People are not aware of the resources available. So I thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Our next couple are the Ashleys of Dallas, Texas. And so good evening. How are you?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
And so just tell the audience who you are.
Well, I am Geneva D. Ashley. This is my husband, Marcus Ashley. And we're just, well, most people know us as, affectionately, they call us the A-Team, just because our last name starts with the letter A. But we live here in the Dallas Metroplex region. We do ministry together. We have a ministry called Word Reflections Ministries. It's brand spanking new. God is literally lifting us off the ground with it. So we're working on that. We also, I myself am a published author. Today is my Amazon best-selling day, so I am pushing for sales of that book. I'm a domestic violence advocate as well as a master coach, virtual pastor, and so, and I work hand in hand with every other thing that my husband and I do together. So
Okay, so just spiritual partners in crime.
yes,
I would say spiritual partners in Christ. How about that?
right, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a better term. It's a better term.
Marcus Ashley here. My biggest role really is just keeping up with this lady right here for all the different things that she sets out to do. I'm more of a silent partner, but I'm really a huge supporter from behind the scenes. I'm not out in the forefront. It's not really my thing, but from behind the scenes, I'm doing heavy lifting with helping get things done, and she goes out and executes as far as book projects, outreach of different kinds, especially in the spiritual sense. Anything that it has to do with the ministry work. I'm one of her biggest supporters from behind the scenes. So a rare appearance for me, and looking forward to engaging with you all.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And so next I have Anna Good evening, Anna. How are you?
Good evening, Constance. Thank you so much for having me on today's show and allowing me to share with those beautiful couples that we have here today.
Yes. So tell the audience who you are.
I am a relationship coach and I started this career of coaching 9 years ago. And initially, I was working with married couples facing challenges in their relationship, but about almost 6 years ago, I really felt calling to work more closely with married women who are committed to their relationship, but whose husbands do not see an issue in the marriage, or they are not ready to get help from a professional. So I felt a need for just filling this space and giving these women some hope and some tools to help them kind of redesign that marriage and be that loving and gentle force that bring changes to their relationship.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us in the discussion this evening. And so I have Daniel J. Williams of Columbia, South Carolina. Good evening, Daniel. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you? How's everyone?
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad that you asked me to join this panel. Sounds like it's going to be an interesting panel discussion.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the discussion this evening. So tell the audience who you are.
Well, like I said, my name is Daniel J. Williams. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm a mindset coach. I'd say that I'm really I like to use the term of being like a intercessor and a communicator. And really I like to work with everyone, seeing everybody be lifted, but more specifically with men, just because men we have a tendency to kind of feel pushed to the side, that we have a lot to carry and a lot to do, but we don't like to express what bothers us or what we're really feeling. So that kind of hinders relations. I mean, this goes in relationships. It kind of hinders our being able to really contribute to the relationship in the best way forward for it to go. So once men kind of get back to knowing themselves and feeling comfortable with themselves, they can actually really bring the best part of the relationship together.
Okay, thank you. And so I'm going to put this question out on the table. It's for our two married couples. With Daniel, you're married as well. And I'm not sure if you have a spouse or not.
Yeah, look at this. I didn't share that. This is my most important job. Yes, I am a wife and a mother of two super sweet kids.
Okay. And so what I want you to do is, the first question I have on the table: how did you meet your partner? And what place and space were you in when the two of you met? And so I'm going to start with the Ashleys.
Okay, I'll take lead on this question. We actually were living in California when we met. We're originally from California, and we only recently, in the past 4 years, transitioned here to Texas. But we both were commuting into work, and we were catching what's called the BART train, which is like very rapid transit for San Francisco Bay Area into San Francisco to go to work. And we both worked in the city. We crossed paths a couple times. We didn't really speak or anything. We just kind of exchanged looks, and I nodded at her just to say more of a gesture of good morning. But a couple of times that happened, we got on the train, and she tried to sit everywhere but next to me. So she was actually reading a book by T.D. Jakes, God's Leading Lady. And rather than taking any typical approach to having a first conversation with her, what I did was, instead, by making that observation about the book she was reading, I went and researched the book to understand where she might be located and why she might be reading that book in particular. And so once I got an understanding of that, I said, okay, well, in my mind, I said, clearly she's got a relationship with the Lord. So that's a good thing. I just needed God to kind of do the rest, because she was going to dodge me every chance she got. So when we got on the train one day, she was standing in the middle of the aisle and she was turning in circles looking for every seat to sit in except for next to me. And I just kind of looked out the window and I looked at the seat next to me and I said, I wish you would sit next to me. I mean, it's not like I bite or anything. So this is what I said to myself. And then she came and sat down, but she hurried up and pulled that book out and opened it back up and almost put her face in it. So that's really how that sequence of events went. And then we exchanged numbers by the end of that ride. We talked about the book. And so I got an even better sense of kind of what was her moral compass and where she was located when we crossed paths. And we haven't really looked back since then. We went on a few dinner dates and consecutive, and we've been going ever since. So there it is.
Wow.
From my perspective.
Okay, amazing story.
I tried to go to every other seat because it was amazing, and that's how you know God was in it, because every seat I was stepped to, literally, I remember very distinctly, it was like 5 different seats. So every time I would go to sit there, somebody else would sit in the seat. So it ended up making me turn around and look back over at that seat, which was the only vacant seat available, and it was next to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Definitely some intervention there, some divine intervention.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. But I got to give it to you, Marcus. You had your game on and you wouldn't research the book and found out about it.
I didn't want to be typical. I didn't want to be different because, there's a lot of ways that could have went, so I just wanted to meet her where she was.
Okay. And it worked. It worked. Yes, indeed. Checkmate. Okay. So the Browns, tell the audience how the two of you met and the place and space you were in when you met.
Right. Well, I'm gonna let her start this.
What's with the ladies first stuff tonight?
He started first, so
okay,
we're gonna go the opposite way this time.
Okay.
Well, how we met, we actually met as business partners. And the way that happened was in 2015, the Lord gave me a vision to start up a nonprofit called Empower Me. And at the time I was a single mom and I was just like, had no idea how to do anything. And the Lord kind of guided me through, and he was like, well, you don't have a 501c3, so you need to look into getting a fiscal sponsor. And I'm like, what is that? So when I did, in the state of South Carolina, at the time I was living in Sumter, South Carolina. In the state of South Carolina, he was the only fiscal sponsor in the state of South Carolina. And my first instinct was like, it's a male, Lord. I don't want to do that. He got to be already married in order for me to proceed. Like, I don't want to do that. Because at that time, my headspace was, I was done with love. I had already been married twice. I was done with marriage. Didn't want nothing to do with it. I didn't want nothing to do with the male, period. Just me, my children. God was my husband. I was good. So God was like, but you need a fiscal sponsor. And unfortunately, this is the only one. So you have no choice but to reach out. So I did contact him. And I said, okay, Lord, well, if this is you, he's going to answer and I'm going to get this fiscal sponsor. And he did not answer. And I said, okay, Lord, so this is not what I'm supposed to do. As fast as I said that, he called me back. And I was like, oh, my goodness. So I answered, and time went on where we were supposed to meet up. He was living in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is where we reside together now. And he drove down to Sumter and met me at Applebee's, because I was like, we're going to meet in an open space. So we met at Applebee's. He came with the contract. I came with all of my things. And we sat down at the table and we prayed. That first, like, I was like, wait, he want to pray before we eat? Wait a minute. So he know God. But I was just like, whatever. I done been there, done that. So thereafter, we sat down, we ate. I signed the contract. And after signing the contract, we parted ways. I was excited, ready to start fundraisers and things like that so I can get my own 501c3. As time went on, I would say about a month of me being in the contract, the Lord released the funds for me to get it. So now I no longer need his services. However, by that time, we had then had so many conversations spiritually. He would pour into me, I would pour into him. We had them night talks and things of that nature. So it was like, he cool as a friend.
She forget about the game part.
Oh, we was at the
We was
restaurant.
at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And she told me she had children. So I said, well, I think it was a weekend coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered to buy her kids food for the weekend from the restaurant so she wouldn't have to cook. So that was my game, bro.
And
you had a better one, but I had to take that opportunity. And that kind of broke the ice. I would say that broke the ice because that was just something trying to be considerate, not necessarily knowing if, it was going to work or do anything, but it did break a little bit of the ice.
It did. And for me, I did call my mom and I was like, Ma, I said, I think this guy just tried to hit on me. I said, because he just bought me and my children, and I have 3. And I'm like, for the whole weekend, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like, that's, and I'm like, he just bought us food for the whole weekend where I don't have to cook. And I was like, I think he tried to hit on me. And I was just like, well, it's not about to happen. And I could tell that he was older than me. And I was like, this guy is crazy. And I was like, I don't even know why he did that. So, it took some time. It really did.
Yeah, she's modest. She was super prepared at that meeting, very organized to the point where I was like, well, you really don't need my services. The only thing you were lacking was the actual 501c3, but she had everything business-wise she had on cap. So it was a real nice lunch. It was a real nice meeting, getting to know her and her organization and how organized she was and how prepared she was. That spoke to me. At a time in my life where I had lost my first wife, it had been some years, like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So not really doing any dating, but the conversation we were having on the phone about business and then spiritually, it made it even more special when we met that day.
Wow. And so you two have been together for how long now?
It'll be 5 years in December.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. And so now, Daniel J. Williams, walk us through when you met your partner and what was going on.
Man, it's going to seem funny. I actually met her in church. We were attending the same church, but we probably only said 12 words to each other in like a matter of a year and a half until there was like there was a revival one night and the prophetess she was going through, and she came over to me and she just kept saying faithful over and over and over. And later she told her that her husband was in here. And we were looking around, there wasn't a lot of people in there. So it was like the choices were very slim on who we could have been matched up with. So I was doing like on the Saturdays, I did a fitness program for the members. And she was, she came through and I took them through a real thorough fitness regimen. And she was so sore. And we had a conversation, we DM and then we talked, and she was talking about how sore she was and so on. And we went out to have a lunch. We just kept conversations going. And she was divorced. I was divorced. And our stories were like the opposite of each other, because at my first marriage, I was terrible. I wasn't even a husband. And she got the other side of it. So, and in our talking in the beginning, told her all of the things that I did and what I was like and whatnot, and how Lord, as I recommitted to the Lord, how like I said that, you know what, I don't even want to bother with a relationship. I don't want to date or anything unless you actually bringing me a wife. But I didn't really believe he would allow me to have that again. And she was like kind of praying along the same thing. We were praying for the same type of stuff. And we've been married for a year now. It's where we met. That was like 3 years ago. We've been married a year now, but it seems like we've been together for so long.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And so, Anna, tell us about you and your spouse.
You know, I feel a lot of resistance sharing this after listening to these inspirational stories, because the way we met, I would say, is not very typical for Christian people to meet. So bear with me. I guess that just simply means that our Lord does not discriminate against places like bars and clubs, because this is exactly where I met my husband. So it was, oh my goodness, we are married for 17 years. So it was about 20 years ago when I went actually to the bar only because my roommate asked me to be her designated driver. She was celebrating a nice work promotion and asked me if I can go there to drive the place. And, you know, I went there to kind of keep her company. And meanwhile, I've noticed my present husband with some lady sitting over there as well. And then it happened that on the way back from the restroom, this lady who was with my husband approached me, and we started a small talk. Turns out that this is his sister. And my husband back then did not have a courage to approach me. So she started that little conversation and he joined us. And, you know, he was such a gentleman. Like, really, I would say, wow, this is surprising for a place like this to meet someone so kind and so polite, just such a true gentleman, that we just have a very good conversation, the three of us, and then my girlfriend joined us too, the four of us. That at the end of this evening, he asked me for my phone number, and I did agree to give him my phone number. And then he called back, and and I told him, obviously, yes, I'm in Texas, but that accent is clearly not Texan, so I am originally from Poland. And I told him about my country of origin. And for our first date, we went to dinner, and he was so prepared. This just really made me, I think, fell in love with him, like that first date, because originally he really wasn't my type, but he was just such a kind man that I thought it's just nice person to have in your life. But then for this first date, before that date, he told me that later he went to Barnes and Nobles and researched everything about Poland. He knew so much about our culture, our customs, geography, politics, that I felt so impressed. And again, he just impressed me with his, behavior and way of being, that after that evening, I remember calling that roommate who I drove to that bar the night we met, telling her, oh my gosh, I really like that guy. So yeah, that's our story.
So we're talking about dating. What guidance or advice do you have for young people, middle-aged people, older single people who are seeking to date or who are currently dating right now? What advice or guidance do you have for them? And I will start with the Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm handed over to him now. I'm gonna put the ball in his court this time. So instead of ladies first,
distracted.
Gentlemen, what advice would you give?
What advice? Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of it is cliche, like be yourself and be open, be transparent. But I guess you have to you got to find a way to open the line of communication. Listen as well as speak. don't try to dominate the conversation, and because she's going to want to know just as much as you want to know. So be willing to listen and be willing to be open and honest.
Okay. Thank you so much. And the Ashleys, what guidance or advice do you have to offer to people who are dating right now?
People that are dating right now. Well, when I think back, for me, I'm a little, believe it or not, a little reserved, shy. I don't really, as a woman, I think just believing that God will do it, being confident in who you are. I have this quote that I always say, it's my own quote, which is, confidence is quiet, insecurities are loud. One thing that I've learned when I was, in my single state, just focusing on God and really loving him and just letting him be who he is in my life. And I was so busy and focused on doing what he wanted me to do. I even talked to him about the type of man that I wanted. So I literally specifically had a very specific list down to the height of my husband, complexion, type of job. Yes, he had to have a job. Not just a job, but a career. Yes. It was important to me. And so really dating a lot, I didn't do. I wasn't putting myself out there, even though my family would say, Geneva, you got to be seen if you expect to be found. So I would find myself just, maybe dating myself. That's what I did. I started dating me a lot. And when I was out, then I was seen. And if it was, the right one, then he would have the boldness and the courage to, approach me. And if he didn't, he would find a way. He would find a way to. So I say to anyone that's in waiting right now, it may seem like it's taken a long time, but I would rather wait on the right one than to give the right thing to the wrong one. So my advice would be, give God first seat in your life and everything else will fall into place. I know some girlfriends of mine, they kind of go on the dating apps and stuff like that, but and no knock on that, but I feel like that's kind of like trying to help God out. And it might be somebody on the dating app that might be also seeking, but if that's the way that you come together, ultimately God is going to be the one that brings you together anyway. So that was what I would say from a woman's perspective. What would you say, Mr. Ashley?
Well, I could only speak from my own journey. I can't really say for everyone else. But looking back on the way that we kind of came together, it was being patient and not really looking for anything in particular, not even really looking, just kind of like, kind of as you say, staying to yourself and, just developing in your own relationship with God and, whatever endeavors you're setting out to do, just really being focused on, your own personal goals. And then just kind of waiting on God to put someone in your path that you find commonality with, because that's super important. A lot of times we like what we see, but the question is that, are we compatible? And the other question is, do we have similar beliefs? Do we look at things the same? Those are all important questions. There's so many things that we've talked about in private where it's like, man, it would have been like nice if someone had told us that before we got on this path, but there's no manual or anything out there like that really prepare you for a journey such as, pursuing a relationship, especially marriage, with someone. Those are kind of things those are hidden gems that you uncover along the way while you're on that journey. And one thing that we've learned to this date is with every passing year, level of communication. Communication is huge. It's one of those things that you don't realize it in the beginning, but as you get further and further up the road and get some years behind you, you learn that there are new depths all the time, even in the ways that you communicate. You thought you were communicating on a deep level before, only to find out that you can go deeper than that. And so that's one of the things that has kind of like revealed itself over time. So those are things that you don't necessarily, understand in your younger years of dating phases and things and those can be some shallow experiences if we're all being honest. Those can be some very shallow experiences. But once you get married, then you start unearthing some things that you didn't know were even there. So that's me speaking in hindsight, looking back from when I was younger up to now, just kind of sharing some of the things that have been revealed along the way.
Okay, wow, thank you. Last week we had a similar discussion. Communication was one of the things we talked about. Making sure that both people involved are on the same page, because the female may be feeling one way, the male may feel a totally different way. And then that's when the miscommunication begins and the breakdown in the relationship. So it's important that both parties are on the same page and that communication is taking place. Effective communication, effective listening. And so welcome, relationship strategist Siobhan. How are you? Siobhan, can you hear us?
Can now. It cut out for a second.
Okay. Hi. So kind of tell the listening audience who you are.
Okay. My name is Siobhan, the relationship strategist. And so I empower Christian couples in committed relationships to strengthen their partnership and eliminate unhealthy behaviors through effective communication. Also an author and a speaker. And yeah, that's basically it.
Well, thank you for joining in the discussion tonight. We have Pastor Robert Cockfield of San Antonio, Texas. Pastor Cockfield, how are you?
Doing great.
Okay, kind of tell the audience who you are.
My name is Dr. Robert Cockfield, and I'm a community activist, a pastor. Just been doing this stuff for a long time as far as loving God and people, just community work. And I have 4 beautiful children, and just currently am just processing a divorce after 41 years.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm sure you have a lot to share. Looking
Sure
back
do.
in time, a lot
Yes,
to share.
ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Tracy Carr, how are you?
I'm great. How's everyone doing?
Doing great. Glad to have you to join us. Tell the listening audience who you are.
My name is Tracy Carr. I am a entrepreneur. I am a woman of God, a woman of faith, and I believe that when it comes to relationships, I believe that God has called me to help people only because of my story of being divorced and dealing with matters of the heart. So that's who I am.
Okay, well, welcome, Tracy, and thank you so much for agreeing to engage in this discussion tonight. And so we've been talking about some recommendations for dating couples or people who are seeking to date. And we talked about understanding and communication. Respect is also important as well. But I want to ask for my 2 married couples, what is the glue? All my married couples, what is the glue that held you together? And I'll start with the Browns. And Elder Brown, it's your turn this time. Don't look at Alicia.
I started the last one. Communication is our glue, and Jesus is our glue, because we stay connected that way. We constantly communicate with each other, praying together, getting the kids involved in prayer, just staying connected spiritually. That seems to be it. That's our glue. Getting up, praying in the morning, that opens up a lot. And that leads to our communication all day sometimes, in the car, with the children. After the children go to sleep, we're constantly in the word. And we use the word to get at each other. So
Yeah.
all the time.
We definitely do.
And I think for us too, the glue for us, I would say also is we both came to a realization that we weren't each other's preference. but we were each other's purpose.
Okay.
And
like
in doing so, it was like we both made up in our mind which would we rather have. Do we want preference or do we want purpose? And we both just thought about it. Each time that we've chosen preference, how far has it gotten us? And it got us nowhere. But when we both made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to choose purpose, that's what keeps us in sync as well, because not only do we speak each other's love language, but we also speak the language of each other's purpose. So that's what keeps us where he's speaking life over me and I'm speaking life over him, because we understand each other's purpose language and also our love language. So like we have a book coming out that we're writing together called Kingdom Marriage and Its Purpose, Pillow Talk. And it's pretty much teaching the principles of pillow talk. Pillow talk ain't sexual. It doesn't mean it has to be in the bed with some actual pillows. It's teaching communication, and pillow talk is really can happen anywhere. Like you said, when we're driving in the car, we're having pillow talk. When we're at home, we're in the kitchen cooking dinner for the children, we're having pillow talk. And that's just me speaking what God revelation that I received today through my day, and him speaking his revelation. And we come together and bring our revelations together, which makes like our relationship so much more intimate, and it continues to add fuel to our fire. So although we're about to be out of newlyweds, we still feel like we just got married yesterday.
All right, now come on with it. Come on with it. And so David J. Williams, tell me about your glue.
Friendship. I'd say it would be friendship, and of course communication, because in that friendship, we have in that communication, it's a mutual thing. We're both headed in the same direction. When we were first, before we got married, we had our individual thing, but they seemed to line up and be going in the same direction, which really was an indication that it was from God and it was meant to be. But just the fact of having a friendship that we just got along so well, it seemed as if we knew each other for years. And even though it was just a short period of time, that just helps everything else kind of fall into place, because with the friendship, it's a mutual understanding and respect for each other, and an honor and a truthfulness in there. So I'd say the glue for us is a good friendship. We have a great friendship, and our communication is great, because we did all the hard questions at the very beginning. So that way you don't come up with that, well, I didn't know you had that kind of habit later down the line. So the hard questions at the beginning is a great thing too.
So transparency.
Right.
Transparency. Amen. Amen. So we're going to shift gears here a little bit. Pastor Cockfield, you were married for 41 years. You're recently going through a divorce or going through a divorce. Looking back at hindsight, what was the glue that was needed that was not present?
Well, I'm still in discussion. We still communicate with each other. We had a discussion just yesterday. We discussed that. Missteps. I like what just was said. Friendship is important. Mistake we made, we rushed into marriage. So we really didn't, there was really no friendship. What we did, we dated just for a snippet. I had a child. I go into the military, come back after basic. We get married quick. And second thing, we put family and others before our own family. We allowed a lot of our family members to become first. We felt obligated to always help everybody else, and it stripped mine our own marriage. Next thing, communication is key. And here's my thing: what are you really communicating? We didn't deal with a lot of hard issues, a lot of hidden agendas, a lot of boxes that weren't open, and we were afraid to open them and really have those real discussions about who are we. And next, really, we got married young. I'm 17 going on 18. She's young, and we really didn't know ourselves. I mean, we went to church, we did all of that, but truly where God was with us as a unit or as one, we really didn't understand what that looked like, you know. So now I advise couples. I heard the couples that's on there or individuals married. I advise you, yes, God has to be first. There shouldn't be no hidden agendas. Don't find yourself spreading yourself too thin, trying to be everything to everybody else, and then not allowing God to be first in your family. And that church piece is important. Where you attend church, where you're getting fed, I believe is critical and key. Here's my last thing. Don't be afraid to just be honest. I think you know, I learned in marriage, you know, I'm looking back. People tend to tell you there's certain things your spouse don't need to know. I was told that quite a bit. I came from, you know, I hung around a lot of old school folks, and they, you know, I got bad advice. They said, oh, there's just certain things you don't need to know. Well, now looking back, that was a misnomer. That's wrong. Because it'll catch up with you. So that honesty is key, like right out the gate. I feel like if you're gonna be married to somebody and they're gonna be your life partner, that life partner speaks volume. That life, you know, you can't speak life into each other if you're lying as a partner. And so that's my advice. I think marriage is a beautiful institution. I don't regret it. It's just now I'm on the back end, just trying to encourage people to stay together. And then the mistakes I made, you know, help them to be life lessons for other people.
Thank you so much, Pastor Cockfield. So now for the ladies on the panel, what advice do you have? And Siobhan, I'm going to start with you. What advice do you have to provide to ladies who are dating or they're seeking a mate or what have you? What guidance do you have?
Okay, so a lot of people, and it might seem like someone else mentioned it's cliche, but everybody has said it, and it's the absolute truth. And I didn't notice when I was younger, but absolutely keeping God in the center of everything. And what that looks like is praying, you know, even if you have to do it individually first, but building up that relationship with Christ first. And then let me say this as well. If you're at a point to where you feel like, okay, well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, or my relationship is over here, still invite him in. So the Lord, and he'll come in and he'll fix it. So keep him the center. And if it's gone wrong, what he'll do is it might look as if your relationship is crumbling apart, but don't keep your eyes fixed on what you see, because he has to get in there and fix that foundation a lot of times. So just keep your eyes on the Lord. Hang around people who can give you some sound advice, some godly advice. Don't be afraid to do that. Seek out others. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you know, what goes on in your relationship stays in your relationship. Remember that the Lord puts people out there to actually help you. He's all about community and bringing people together. So don't be afraid if you need to go to someone else, such as a therapist, such as a strategist, such as somebody who can come and help you, just give you some insight and some pointers to help you. And if you are also another thing, when you're dating, be honest with one another and forgive always. Okay. Forgive your partner on a regular basis and forgive yourself. And one more thing that I think I've grown in over the years is patience. Have patience and kindness towards one another. And remember that they are your teammate. They're not there as your enemy. You're not supposed to fight against them. You guys can do more together. So that's my advice right there to the ladies.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. Thank you so much. Anna.
I'm trying to think what to add to this beautiful advice. I think that the maybe a few more things that I would add to it is know yourself first. So know your value, because you know, it's very important to understand that the man you're dating comes from different backgrounds and might have, and you know, we all are very different. There are going to be differences in our marriage, and compromise, it's a big thing. But what you don't want to compromise are your values. So look for a person who, you know, like if you are Christian, it's probably not the best idea to date someone who doesn't follow the Lord, because it's just going to cause so much internal conflict that this is very difficult to carry this relationship and really have a fruitful, beautiful relationship that will sustain for years. So know yourself first, know your value, and this is what should be on your list. What does this person that I envision as my lifelong partner believes in, and what are his values? Are we compatible in this sense? And then talking about differences, those differences will be there. And then we need to understand that it's okay. And we need to learn how to appreciate each other's differences and how to actually utilize them in your relationship, because we might be good in very different things. And, instead of letting those differences divide you, utilize them to make something beautiful together. And, when you're dating, definitely also understand the reason why you date. Why do you actually want a partner? Because, I think that a lot of women and men looks for a partner because they don't feel complete and they hope that this person will come and fix something in their life. So first, make sure you take care of yourself and you are happy with who you are and you absolutely feel complete. And the person that is right for you and the person who comes to your life is just something in addition, to who you are. This is not a person who's supposed to fulfill all your desires. Of course, part of a marriage is we all come with needs, and it's a beautiful thing that we can help each other fulfill those needs. But you need to be happy with yourself and your life first.
Thank you so much, Anna. Tracy.
Yes. Good evening. I'm going to say everything everyone said was, right on point. Of course, God first. But one of the things that I'm learning as you get to know that person, once again, like she said, understanding their values. But one of the things that I found was learning that person's love language. And when I say that love language, because what might work for you may not work for them. And as you come together and as you grow, there's going to be many sacrifices. And when I say sacrifices, sometimes it can't be just about you. It has to be about you and your partner. Especially if you have kids or if you're dating someone who has kids. I always say it's not just about you. How does that fulfill the purpose and intent of where people are trying to build together? Because now if you're trying to deal with kids, then it's a whole nother level. So as you deal with that, and then it's back to not sleeping in separate beds. Now, y'all might disagree with me on this, but sometimes I know that when you sleep in separate rooms or even like you're allowing the enemy to come in and steal, kill, and destroy and slip right on in. The other thing is intimacy. Intimacy is not just about sex. It's learning to the value and knowing your partner and knowing the needs and the desires, the wants, those things that need to be fulfilled, whatever it is that may be in. Good morning, how are you? The prayer. Those different things. What is it that you like? What is it that you dislike? It's just the intimate. Sitting down, having discussions is very intimate. I may want to go on a date. I may want to go do some certain things. How do I fulfill that in getting to know you? What are your likes, dislikes? Even in our conversation, sometimes our voices may get loud. And I may not know that about your past. So as you grow, as you get older, and as you start to learn the value of one another, what is it that you will allow, will not allow, as you get to learn and grow into developing a relationship, and keep people out your business. As you do that, even though you have, like she said, wise counsel, you have counselors out there that you can go and talk to, but what may have worked for somebody else may not work for you. So it's back to that saying, not necessarily what goes on in your house stays in your house, but you have to realize that everybody are from different backgrounds. Everybody was raised differently. Some people have been hurt. Some people have not been healed or delivered from the past, and don't bring baggage that you had before whether it was a bad relationship, don't bring it into the relationship that you have now. But remember, God first in all that you do. And I yield.
Thank you, Tracy. And I'm going to add one more thing. You know, I know a lot of people who've never been married, never had children, but they are an expert on telling you how to raise your children and what to do in your marriage. And I would say, avoid those experts. Avoid those because they're not experts. They have no clue. They've never lived it. They've never experienced it. So how can they guide you? So again, like as Tracy said, be careful who you allow in your midst. Be careful. And so we're getting close to the end. And so what I want each of you is to think of a buzzword pertaining to relationships and dating that you want to leave with the listening audience. I'm going to give you a few seconds, and I'm going to start with Pastor Cotfield.
Well, my buzzword is purpose. And I want to throw this out here. You know your purpose. Don't date and get with people and don't know why you're on this planet. Because it causes chaos. Because what ends up happening, you don't know why you're here. You should already know. And then I'm gonna give you an example. I was a musician. That was my purpose. Okay, that's as a life as a musician. When I brought that to the table, okay, I travel a lot. There's a lot of things that go along with it. That's my point. And unfortunately, I didn't understand it was my purpose. So I didn't express that. Well, then I get married and then this person like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm a musician. And I love that. That's who I am. That should have been brought to the table right out the gate because I think it's fair. It gives that individual an opportunity to either accept it or reject it. It's kind of bad after the fact. So my buzzword is purpose. Know yours. Know it before you get into that relationship and share it.
All right. And when you said that, I had to chuckle. I'll never forget a few years ago, actually, when I was in San Antonio, I was dating someone that was Muslim. And, he was sharing with me about women and their attire. And I said, well, let's get this straight right now before we go any further. I'm not converted. I believe what I believe. And I'm not wearing all that stuff on my head because I pay too much to get my hair fixed every week. I'm not doing that. And I'm not wearing those long dresses because, hey, I got some killer legs and I don't even show them. So if you can accept that, let's go ahead and get this on the table right now and solve this right now. So as you can see, I'm still on the hill by myself. So anyway, thank you so much, Pastor Cotfield, for sharing that. Siobhan.
I'd say my buzzword would be conversation. So a lot of times we don't have necessary but uncomfortable conversations with our partners, and it can lead to some things that you might have to untangle a little bit later on down the road. I always say, a relationship's never too far gone. You can't come out of it, but having conversations that are meaningful and that are not full of fear and control, so that way you'll get to know one another. So conversation is my buzzword to leave with you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Daniel J. Williams.
I'm gonna go with asset is my buzzword, because if you're going into a relationship, then you're looking for it to be long term. So you're full, they're full. You want to be an asset to them just as well as they be an asset to you. So what you're building is going to be very strong and it's going to bring longevity. That should cover everything. Your communication, your love languages, all of that. When you're being an asset to her, she's being an asset to you, you're just adding to each other, and there's no weakness in between. I'm filling in her gaps, she's filling in my gaps, so there are no gaps. So I say asset is my buzzword.
Wow, I like that. Thank you so much, Daniel. Anna.
My buzzword for the married couple and people who are seriously dating is vision. I think that very often we get into relationship without actually having a vision for our future relationship or for our marriage. We believe that, love is enough and goodwill is enough, and our marriage just somehow magically will evolve and go in the right direction. But how do you know that you're going in the right direction if you don't have goals for your marriage, if you don't have value listed for your family? So I encourage everyone to create relationship statement, almost like a mission statement, right? We have one for our business. Why not for our marriage? Know what goals you want to accomplish with your spouse or your future spouse. Know what kind of wife or husband you want to be, what is important to you. This will help you stay on track.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Tracy.
My word is legacy.
Okay.
And when I say legacy, I'm saying in the relationship, what are you leaving behind and what are you teaching people as far as moving forward, as far as as everybody just said, from the vision to the mission to whatever it is that it may be, how can you all build an empire together and leave a legacy behind?
Oh, wow. That's powerful. I like that. I like that. Thank you so much, Tracy. The Ashleys.
Mine is forgiveness. And I say that because you will consistently need to utilize forgiveness. And I don't mean just like saying I'm sorry but actually executing with a heart of forgiveness, knowing that God is a forgiving God. And when we love each other and seek the Lord on a regular basis, daily, about forgiving one another, whether it be in, we like to call it heated fellowship, rather than arguing. So if we have heated fellowship, or if it's something that is, considered a moral failure, whatever it might be, no matter how deep or how offensive it may have been, just knowing how to forgive one another and allowing your love to cover the multitude of fault that you have one to another, and just remember that God honors forgiveness. So that would be my buzzword.
Okay, I like that term about the heated. My parents called it the situation room. So when they said they had to go into this, not the situation, but the situation room, when they said that, I knew that was my cue to exit right. We're getting ready to have a show enough discussion. Thank you so much, the Browns.
It's consideration, but together it's purpose. So I'm gonna let her go purpose, because when he took purpose, you see us throw our hands up.
So I'll speak on the purpose, and then I'll pass it over to him to speak on the consideration as our buzzwords put together. So on the purpose, on the flip side, is understanding the purpose of the relationship, because every relationship is different. Even with going through life, any relationship that you're in, you must understand the purpose, whether it's long-term, whether it's short-term, whether it's you pouring into the person and you have something the person needs, or the person has something you need. I believe when one understands the purpose of the relationship, they can treat the relationship as such and not come into the relationship with all these high hopes. Because I've seen, and through a few of I do coaching as well, and some that I have coached, I've seen in many times where they had high hopes. Oh, I think that's my husband. That's my husband. Okay, let's understand the purpose of the relationship. Yes, God may have very well put a male in your life, but what was the purpose? Why did he put that male in your life? And so that's why I say the buzzword is purpose. And then he says consideration. So I yielded to him.
I did say consideration, because that I find that to be very important, to be considerate of the person that you're with. That's in any relationship. Always consider, or be considered, what the other person's going through, the other person's needs, and consider their feelings as you would consider your own.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you so much. So thank each of you for this very good discussion tonight. I just want to give a shout out that the state of South Carolina is in the house, as well as the state of Texas is in the house. So I want to thank each of you for agreeing to engage in this discussion with me and the listening audience here at the Speak Easy podcast. 2 weeks from now, we'll meet again. We'll have a different discussion on relationships and Christian dating. I want to say good night to the listening audience. May God bless you today, tomorrow, and always. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Monetize your business assets with Dr. Liddy. Dr. Liddy is a renowned world-class attorney. She has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, USA Today, and the New York Law Journal for her work to protect small businesses and small investors. She presented a TEDx talk in London on what the original purpose of corporations was to do public good and what went wrong. Dr. Liddy has a BA from Columbia University, MBA from New York University, JD from Fordham University, and a PhD from University of Barcelona. Corporate executives hire Dr. Liddy to train employees to be more legally mindful in their employment transactions. The United Nations hired Dr. Liddy to instruct small to medium-sized enterprises across the globe on the laws that impact their businesses. Dr. Liddy has spoken at business, law, and tax conferences, from Amsterdam to Bogota, to Cape Town to Los Angeles to Paris to New York, to Barcelona to Miami to Warsaw to Costa Rica to Germany. Dr. Liddy designs legal structures and financial systems for entrepreneurs who are frustrated and disappointed that their business has not been as profitable and successful as they expected. By teaching entrepreneurs how to use the leverage of law, taxes, insurance, and estate planning, entrepreneurs can be 10 times more profitable and successful so that they can build wealth and create a legacy to pass on to their families.
I heard there was a secret code that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care about the law, do you? It goes like this: value, vision, visibility, valor. The battle king composing. Hallelujah. 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 So when I was a little girl, that song, without my slight modification on the power of the law, was a song that I sang as a little girl a lot, because my dad was an Episcopalian priest and a business lawyer, and he wanted me to sing all the time in the choir. I was a little girl. I was 5, 6, 7, 8, up until the time I was 9. And what I have found is that we, us business people that bring our heart, our soul, our spirit into what we do, oftentimes forget to include the power of music in what we do. And for me, law is music. So I want to spend a few minutes talking to you today about the opportunity that has come my way that I want to share with you. I'm Dr. Liddy, the good lawyer and the good business creator. And so what has come to me today? A couple of things. One is creating, protecting, commercializing, and profiting. So create, protect, commercialize, profit. So the CPCP. And I want to spend a little time talking about how that impacts your business and the opportunity that I'm going to give you to really create some commercialization and some profit
for your business. So the first thing I want to offer you is that several years ago, I was approached by Bob Sarcosta at an event. He's the original Home Shopping Network co-founder, and still to this day, their number one host. And he heard me speak and he said, Dr. Liddy, we need to have you on the Home Shopping Network to put together the law as you have sang it for us into a product that our viewers can purchase, learn from, and grow their business. So that became the ultimate business visibility book. I was so excited. And then COVID happened. Then, guess what? Bob Sarcosta didn't forget about me. Isn't that amazing? When you meet someone, life happens, and they reach out to say, hey, how you doing? Let's move forward. So he's reached out and he said, how is our book going? And I said, I was living through COVID. And he goes, nope, COVID is over. Let's get going. So I want to offer you what Bob has offered me. And we're putting together the ultimate business visibility book for 2023. So we need to get going with publication and all of that stuff. And what it is to you or for you and for your business is they get 10 million viewers a day. What if we only get 1% of those folks to watch? That's 100,000 people. And what if 10% of that bought our book where you're featured in the book? Isn't that amazing? Those type of multiples. Well, that's big business. And I want to share that opportunity with you. So I want you to write your one-page profile, and I'll have a template for you to be able to do that. I want you to tell the world what you do with your business for them. And I want you to have a global impact because people are going to read your profile. There's going to be contact information for how they can reach you. So that's going to be your website, your email, your phone number, whatever it is that you feel special to provide for them. They're going to have access to that in the book. And how is that going to work? Well, the first page, everyone gets a one-page business profile. The first page, I'm going to talk about you and what you do for the world. And I'm going to say how that impacts the world. And I'm going to say how they need to connect with you. And the bottom half of that page is going to be your contact info, right? All the ways that people can get a hold of you. And also if you have a package or a program, what that is. And then they will reach out for your services and products. So that's the ultimate business visibility book for 2023. But then I'm going to go one better. Why is that? Because I was asked to play a bigger game in terms of getting more visibility to the small business owners, the women business owners in particular. So I am putting together the ultimate business visibility package. So what will that include? The book that I just talked about will be part of it. The second part of it is that we are also going to have you on my podcast, which reaches, ready for this? The podcast reaches 350 million people. And I'm humbled to say that I'm number 11 in podcast rankings on the CTR media. And it's about to get bigger because I'm also adding to it my television show, which is Legal Codes Revealed. And law is a part of your business. Why? Because when you create something, that's law. When you protect it, that's law. When you commercialize it, that's the money, 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 money. That's law. And when you profit from it in terms of how much do you get to keep, that is also law. A little thing we call revenue and earnings and taxes. Yep, there's a course that I did about that. So we're going to, in the ultimate business visibility package, give you the book, and that could be separate, right? But it's included, and that would be the book that we're talking about. Included with that would be the podcast that I'm talking about. Including that will be the streaming TV show that's going out to 350 million people around the world and growing, I should say. That's 350 million last count. And I wanted to do one more thing. I wanted to provide you the ability to implement the how to do the creation properly, how to do the protection properly, how to do the commercialization, how to do the profitization properly. So I found that videos are great, but being on the ground with boots and stilettos, learning together is really the way to do it. So I'm going to have an implementation weekend of the CPCP the first weekend in March in beautiful Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Woo-hoo. We got a corporate sponsor already because they want to see what we do. And not only are we going to implement this, we're going to get on stage. No, you're going to get on stage and we're going to video that. And that's going to be your fabulous infomercial to get people to know who you are, believe in what you're doing, gather around you and support you in what you're doing, and they will become winning fans, winning clients, and your biggest promoters because you are leading with love, you are leading with beauty, and you are leading with a vision that we all wish that we could share. So I'm Dr. Lydia Louis, and I look forward to seeing you really, really soon on many stages, many platforms. And most of all, we are the music makers and the dreamers of dreams. Never forget, always remember that you are loved.
Monetize your business assets with Dr. Liddy. Dr. Liddy is a renowned world-class attorney. She has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, USA Today, and the New York Law Journal for her work to protect small businesses and small investors. She presented a TEDx talk in London on what the original purpose of corporations was to do public good and what went wrong. Dr. Liddy has a BA from Columbia University, MBA from New York University, JD from Fordham University, and a PhD from University of Barcelona. Corporate executives hire Dr. Liddy to train employees to be more legally mindful in their employment transactions. The United Nations hired Dr. Liddy to instruct small to medium-sized enterprises across the globe on the laws that impact their businesses. Dr. Liddy has spoken at business, law, and tax conferences, from Amsterdam to Bogota, to Cape Town to Los Angeles to Paris to New York, to Barcelona to Miami to Warsaw to Costa Rica to Germany. Dr. Liddy designs legal structures and financial systems for entrepreneurs who are frustrated and disappointed that their business has not been as profitable and successful as they expected. By teaching entrepreneurs how to use the leverage of law, taxes, insurance, and estate planning, entrepreneurs can be 10 times more profitable and successful so that they can build wealth and create a legacy to pass on to their families.
I heard there was a secret legal code that David knew, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care about the law, do you? It goes like this: the law is good, the battle king composing, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I am Dr. Liddy, the good lawyer and the good business coach. I want to spend a little time speaking with you today about what I call V4. And it begins with your vision, your value, your visibility, and your valor. I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and I hope it is okay with you that I begin at the beginning. So, I am the daughter of an Episcopalian priest, and also he happened to be an attorney. And my dad was what I would call a community lawyer. He helped everyone in the community. He helped the butcher, he helped the seamstress, he helped the vegetable store owner, he helped the dry cleaners. And his office was the front porch of our house. So you can imagine that every day when I came home, there was usually a group of people at the front porch listening to him, asking him questions, and he would advise them. And he never asked for money directly. He would say, if what I've given to you today is of value, please leave something in the bowl so we can share it with the church community on Saturday and Sunday. And that's how I grew up, learning at my dad's feet. And one day I came home and dad was not there. And dad never showed up at the house again. Now, my mom was beautiful. She was brilliant. She was an artist. She painted these lovely paintings, and she was a poet. She wrote beautiful poetry. She was also a physicist, but no one hired a woman physicist back really in the 1970s. I don't know where NASA was, but they didn't contact mom. So for me, I was born in the Caribbean, in the island of Dominican Republic, and I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, very much like Alexander Hamilton, born in the island of Nevis, really grew up in New York City. So I learned at a very young age, I was 9 when this happened, when dad never showed up again, that without money and without people willing to truly help you, you lose everything really, really fast. And my mom lost a house very quickly. And we wound up at friends' houses, at neighbors, at family, but eventually we really wound up in shelters. And we stayed in shelters for a long time. The church is primarily the place that we would go, but we will often wind up in city shelters as well. And you got one cot per family back then. And my mom got the cot, so I got the floor. Little Liddy got the floor. And I was scared, I was cold, I was lonely. I missed my dad. And I would cry myself to sleep almost every night because I was so sad. And I would begin to sing because singing brought me comfort, and it still does. And as I sang, you could hear other people around the shelter singing along with me. And it was just a little beautiful memory for me. And I want to share that song because you will find that I like to sing. One, it makes me happy, but two, I find courage in my songs. And I hope that my songs touch you as well to gain more courage than you could ever imagine that one person could have. It's all within us. So the song I used to sing when I was a little girl in the shelters, and please join in if you know this song, is "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what they say, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine." And it was the most beautiful sound to hear the other homeless people singing the song for hours. It just kept bouncing around the room. And that brought me comfort. Then one day, I got a scholarship to Columbia University, and they found out while I was filling out my award letter, it asked for my address, and I put down the shelter, the church's shelter, and they couldn't believe this. And they immediately gathered together and something changed. They got my mom a small apartment on campus for me and her. Isn't that amazing? And I watched this, I said, oh my God, how blessed am I? And I want you to begin to believe, if you don't already, that things can change in an instant. In an instant, you're healthy. In an instant, you're sick. In an instant, you're homeless. In an instant, you have a place to live. And the flow of life is never certain, but it is a journey that we are compelled to ride. So for me, the challenge as I was in college was not so much the work, but that I was broke. I had no money, and the wealthy students had a lot of things that they were able to do, and all I did was work. I worked everywhere. I worked at the front desk at the dorm. I worked at the library. I worked. They called it work study because you're supposed to be studying while you're working. Well, I was working while I was working, and that was a gift, because the parents that came to see their kids recognized that I was always there working, and they felt more confident and comfortable with me and trusted me with everything, with money, with clothing, with food, with special notes for their children. And one day, one of the parents said, Liddy, where do you work? Because you're just such an amazing person. And we would like to thank your supervisor. And I said, well, you can write a note to the school, but this is my work study. I have to work here at the front desk. And they said, really? And they said, don't you own a business? And I said, a business? I'm like, no. So parents at the Columbia University taught me how to start and operate and sell a successful business. So what was the one thing I knew how to do? They said, what's the thing you do the best? And I said, take care of others. They said, great, that's a babysitting service, and we've got some other kids at home, so you can watch them. So how much do you want to charge? I said, I don't know, $5. They're like, absolutely not. It should be at least 50. I'm like, $50? And as time went on, $50 became $100, became $200. By the time I left, I was $300 an hour. And because the demand was so great by other families that wanted a trusted person to leave their little children with, I wound up hiring 15, 17, maybe at one point even 18 college friends of mine to do the same thing. And I got a percentage of everything that they did. Years later, we sold that business to a Swiss company. And that's when I learned what real money was really about, that it wasn't how much you could earn, it was how much you had the ability to have others earn that are in your structure. And that's a lot about how business works. How do you multiply yourself? How do you multiply the work? How do you multiply the money? And that is something, unfortunately, we're just never taught, right, in school. We're taught to do what in school? Come on, say it with me. Become an employee and work for someone else. That's the American structure. So to step out of that, you've got to do something different, something unique, something fascinating, something that they don't teach you in a classroom. And that is what we are here to do. We're here to teach each other about the things they're not teaching you in school, because then you'd go out and be a successful business owner rather than becoming an employee for someone else. So what was the challenge for me? The challenge for me is I didn't know that there was an alternative other to being an employee, i.e. becoming a business owner. And it took someone to tell me, to show me, to implement it for me to accept that I can do this. And a lot of what we do with Dominionaire Life is that we teach each other how to do the things that we don't know how to do to become successful business owners. We have a host of training with regard to how we do that. I handle the law. Why? Because it is my heritage. 14 generations of my lineage were both priests and lawyers. I am not a priest, but I am a lawyer. And my gift is I have the ability to process that information that we call legalese and make sense out of it for others and create processes for you to be able to benefit from the law. We call it legal training within Dominionaire Life, and I run that division in terms of protecting your original ideas. We call that intellectual property. We're the only country in the world that in our Constitution, the US Constitution, we put in that every man has the right to protect their creative original ideas. We call that copyright. It is the right to copy. You have the right that is given to you by the federal government, and you can give others permission, transfer that right for them to copy your stuff. We call that licensing. So I train on these things within Dominionaire Life. And we have other fabulous people that train on money in terms of your finances, that train on mindset in terms of getting your mind right. And I say that not to be funny, but to acknowledge that oftentimes there are things that we see or that people teach us that just leads to nowhere. It leads to you being sad. It leads to you being demoralized and not being confident. So what do you do in those moments? So when we came together, when amazing Steve and Scott and we came together, it was to build something different, something that would empower individuals and families to dream again. We stop dreaming. We just go to work. And the ability to dream is so powerful. The ability to see what is not immediately in front of us, but it is coming, is amazing. And when I was a little girl, there was a song that I absolutely adored that helped me dream bigger dreams, even though I had nothing. And that song, and if you know it, come on, sing along with me on this one. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. And they do. We've stopped believing in our dreams because we've had so much failure that we don't think our dreams are valuable. So that leads me into my first V. V1, you have value. You don't have to believe me. It says so in the holy book. You are so important to our Father. So lovingly, He created you. And somewhere while we are living our lives, we fall into the trap of believing that we're not valuable, which is a fallacy. It's wrong. It's incorrect. But we believe it nonetheless. You are valuable. You are so important to Him. But you've got to believe in yourself as well. I can tell you as much as I want to every day how valuable you are, but until you believe it, it'll never take root. It'll never be grounded. And sometimes you need to surround yourself with good people. So Steve, Scott, myself, we are good people. We value on doing good, which is why I'm Liddy, the good lawyer, because there's some bad ones out there. I know. Please don't start saying, I know. I've experienced some myself, and I choose to do good. I choose to use the power and leverage of the law to do good and not evil. That's a choice each of us has. So your value is important. We need your value in the world to elevate our human existence, to do some good for others. How can you do it? As simple as giving a sandwich to someone who asks, as simple as working on your business to really make it successful, as easy as attending training so you empower yourself with knowledge so you can be a resource and a value to others. So value, you have it, share it. My second V that I love so much is vision. What is our vision? What is the vision that you have for yourself, for your family, for the world, for your business? Only you know that vision. And one of my favorite sayings from the Bible, from Habakkuk really, is when God told one of the prophets to write the vision and make it clear upon tablet so those that read it can run with it. For the vision is not for now, but it is for the appointed time. Wait for it. It shall come. And when I first read that, I had no idea what that meant, right? So write the vision and make it clear on tablet. What tablet were they talking about? I guess back then it was clay tablets. They baked them. They put a little pencil mark. I mean, I can't read the Egyptian hieroglyphics. But isn't it interesting that we have a product now that's called a tablet? Actually, I'm taping this video on a tablet. Isn't it interesting that centuries ago that God talked about make it clear upon tablet, and here we are in the year 2022, and we've got tablets that we make things clear, video, right? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it powerful that our all-knowing God knows these things? So the vision for you is to write it, create it, bring it forth from your spirit, the thing that touches you the most, because that is your gift and it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be clear on tablet. So those that see your vision can run with it. Ah, isn't that beautiful? That even though you created, others can see it as well and will know what to do with it. That is vision. My third V that I want to share with you today is about visibility. I am horrible with visibility. People are shocked when I say that, but I don't do all the things that I should be doing with regard to putting my vision, my value out there for the world. I'm not really that visible. I'm not really on social media. I struggle with that, but I've asked Dr. Tina Ramsey to help me with that. So she said, great, Liddy, we're going to give you a podcast and we're going to give you a streaming television show. And by the way, her CTR media network reaches like something like 350 million people around the world. I'm like, what? This is my client and she's now telling me. So, and I spoke to Steve about it recently and we're going to do some more visibility with Tina. With Dr. Tina. When I first met her 2 years ago, she was Coach Tina. And I said, girl, go get your degree. And 2 years later, she is Dr. Tina. I love it. I absolutely love it. See the vision. And she is such a wonderful spirit. And I mention her specifically because visibility is something that we could all strive to have more of. And it's important to have it with good people that care about you and care about the message that you bring to the world and care very much about making sure that we're adding value to the world. And I love working with my sisters of faith. It is simply a powerful presence to be in when we come together and create amazing things. So your visibility, is it that you speak? Is it that you write and you publish? Is it that you are on Facebook or on YouTube? Get it out there. Let people know that you are here. And again, I do a horrible job at it, but I admit that freely. I need to do a better job. But I can imagine that many of us need to do a better job of being visible and sharing what we stand for, sharing what will help with what we need help with and what we will help others with as well. So visibility is one of the areas that I think is very important for us to focus on a little more. And there are tools out there and people out there that make it easy. And my last V for us is valor. And when I say valor, people often say, oh my God, what is Dr. Liddy talking about? Well, for me, the simplest definition of valor is courage beyond knowing that you will succeed. It's the confidence that you step forward, not knowing where the next step is going to take you, but knowing that you have to take the step. It's trusting in God that your steps are guided and measured, and you are courageously walking into any situation, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that the Spirit of God infuses everything that you do, and that you are valiant. You stand for good. You stand for good people, for good things, for good knowledge. You take a position that you do not back down from because it's yours. It's your vision of what can be. And there's a whole army that stands with you, good people around the world that support that valor that you have. Understand when I say valor, oftentimes you're going to walk alone. I know I say you will have an army, and then I said, what? You're going to walk alone. Well, the army will come, but they'll only come when they are convinced that you are convinced that you will stand strong in your courage. Then they come forward. So if there are things that you care deeply about, stand for them. If there are people that you want to support that others are not supporting, support them. And know that your presence of standing firm in that belief will show the way for others to stand with you. So my work around the world focuses primarily on what I've shared with you. I use law to bring value to people. I use the law to bring vision to people because they don't know what they don't know. They can't see what they don't see. I use law to bring visibility. I argue cases in court. I do arbitrations. I also set up businesses. And I help people to sell them and fund them. I do all that fun stuff for me, but I know that I do these things because I saw my father do these things for others. So we are all part of a lineage. There's a history that comes with us, whether we know it or not. It comes with us, and it is imbued in our very cell structure to make us who we are today. Good or bad, it is who we are. And valor. So much of what is happening or what happens to us is without valor. No one courageously steps up on our behalf. You have to be the person that steps up on your behalf and behalf of others that you care about and causes that you care about. And which is why I love Dominionaire Life, because so many of us, Steve, Scott, myself, we stand up for others and each other. And that's a beautiful collaboration to have, knowing that you're not alone, that you're never alone. You've never been alone, and you never will be alone. Just because you don't see people doesn't mean they're not there in spirit and support of you from miles and miles away. So I share these things with you because I want you to know that you are important in the plans that unfold for your business, for your family, for our futures. And I want you to know that Dominionaire Life was created for people just like you that wanted a different way of life, that didn't want to worry about money because you're working on your business and that's bringing you the money, because there's training for you to learn and excel, because there's good people that have come together to say, let's band together to make a difference in this world for other people. And if you can hear me, then you know that what I am saying is true. You know that there's a vibration when people are doing good things, right? Some people get hot, some people get trembles. I get happy. I love it when people do good things. And it hurts me when I can't help everyone. And I know that. So I choose, right? When things come in my path, will I help? And if I can, I do. And sometimes I simply can't, not because I don't want to, but because I don't know how. And I think that's a lot of us, right? We don't know how to help sometimes. So I want to share two thoughts. One is the Mayans have an ancient saying that says, if it is to be, then it is up to me. If it is to be, then it is up to me. And I've adopted that as my own personal philosophy. I'll go first in many situations, not knowing sometimes what the end will be or not knowing exactly what to do, but to know that my presence is important. I will say that I can with you today. If it was anything other than a medical situation in my family, I would be on the ground with you, as I like to say, boots and stilettos on the ground. But I will be there next time. And I am here now. I'm not far away. I'm a phone call, I'm a text message. Oh, by the way, text message, I meant to share with you. I promised that I would give a gift to you. So on your cell phone, if you send a text to 26786, 26786, and if you type in the word law, LAW, I have a gift for you. It's an infographic of a copyright, meaning it's a picture of what the copyright process looks like. I am adamant about all of us copywriting our original creative ideas because they're good ideas that are worthy of protection and monetization. But the monetization part is for another discussion with you. So I want to say that I believe in you. I believe that there's a pathway for all of us that leads to goodness. And that means locking arms with each other at times and stepping out on our faith and strongly declaring that we are people of faith, we are people of God, and we believe in good business for everyone. I am Dr. Liddy, the good lawyer, and may you always remain as blessed as you are now. Until we meet again, please stay safe, please stay inspired, and please stay absolutely marvelous.
So come join her, monetizing you and your business at a Connect with Dr. Liddy today.
Our sponsors. The Finkley Experience, an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education, in which prepares high school students for college. For more information, visit their website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Father to Father Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that strengthens families through father engagement, with a goal to help men in our communities to be great dads. For more information, visit their website, fathertofatherinc.org. Ablaze Entertainment. The goal of Ablaze is to take emerging artists and develop them to the next level of their career. For more information, visit their website at ablazeentertainment.net. Thank you.
I am Harley Wallen, and you are watching The Michael Finkley Show.
Hello, everybody. It's Finkley from The Finkley Experience.
We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you.
I'm Patricia Whitfield. I'm Lisa Cook. And I'm Tanisha Gray Stewart. And this is the Life Daytime. And you are watching The Michael Finkley Show.
On the next Michael Finkley, founder and creator of the Move Bags, Rapone Anderson is with us and tell us all the details of how he got started. Next Finkley.
It's my biggest dream come true. Hold on, hold on. It's my biggest dream come true.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. Thanks for joining us today. Now, y'all, you know this is season 5, our biggest dream season, and I've been asking each and every guest thus far, what is your next biggest dream? What is your biggest dream? Are you living in it? Are you pursuing it? What's going on? Are you still dreaming? And y'all, the responses have been amazing this season, and I tell you, I am just getting a strong delight from it. It's encouraging, it's inspiring, it's motivational to me. And I hope that it's motivational to you as well as you watch this season. Just go out, as I said, each and every at the end of each and every show. Pursue your biggest dreams. Go after it. Do it. It's 2022. Life is too short. Every time I look at my feed, there's someone saying rest in peace, rest in peace. And I dare not want to be um, in the ground, resting in peace, and not have lived out my dreams. So, y'all, please continue to pursue your dreams. And our guest today is doing the same thing. He retired a few years ago, and he is on the move in his business, and he is doing it up. Rapone Anderson is with us, and I tell you, an awesome brother, doing it up. Support, support, support. Within the interview, is going to explain why you need to support the movement. Exactly, the movement, and his amazing bags, in which we call Move, MOUVE. So another awesome interview. Don't go away, Pink Fam. Back in a moment. Coming up, Rapone is here. Back in a moment.
Hey there, Fink fam. I'm Skip Robinson, fitness model, pro bodybuilder, black belt martial artist, AARP member, guitar hack, and frustrated cowboy. I'll expound on that and a lot more on The Michael Finkley Show, and I'll see you then.
On the next Michael Finkley, cast of the drama series Sangre Negra, Black Blood, Antonio McKay, Billy Ray Smith, Stoney Jackson. Next Finkley.
Welcome to Father to Father.
The mission of Father to Father Charleston, South Carolina is to help fathers in the Low Country area of South Carolina to be a positive and consistent presence in their children's lives. Father to Father provides community-based programs and support groups for fathers free of charge. They also help fathers connect to other resources they need so they can meet their responsibilities and secure their parental rights. Father to Father offers job coaching and employment connections that benefit fathers. Father to Father is a resource for local organizations that want to provide family support and father-friendly services. If this program is a fit for you, visit our location in North Charleston, South Carolina, and meet our friendly staff here to help and assist. Or visit our website at fathertofatherinc.org. Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, y'all, my next guest, who is also a good fraternity brother as well, he is the founder and designer of the Move Bags. He is Rapone Anderson. How are you, bro?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Good evening to you.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good to finally meet you, because we've been by way of email, but also to find out that you're a good fraternity brother as well. So Finally.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I love to see the paddle in the background.
I had to give it some flair. I had to bring it to life. It's who is a part of me, right? The lighter alpha is here. So yeah, I had to bring it on set. I had to.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for being with us. And again, you're doing some incredible things by way of designing, by way of your brand. And we're definitely going to talk about that. But I must say, when reading about you, it says that to understand your brand, you must understand his story. What is this personal story that connects to you, to your brand?
Oh, wow. You know, it's a great question. I started the business out of my own necessity. You know, the old saying is necessity is the mother of invention. And I invented something that I felt that I needed. I was going to work every day and I would carry a messenger bag each day. And then on the weekends or when I was riding my bike or something, I would carry a different bag, a backpack. And I told myself, I want a bag that's versatile, that I could wear to the office, something I can wear with my suit and tie, but also that's casual enough that I can wear on the weekends when I'm just doing something a little bit more casual. And I came up with a design that allowed me to do that. So it's a bag that actually just with one movement converts from a backpack to a messenger bag. And I told myself I would never design something that I wouldn't actually wear myself. And I wore my bag and used it daily for the last probably 3 years or so. And a lot of my passion for design, and I've always been into fashion, but not really growing up being a designer. But I got a lot of it from my father, who was a great inspiration to me. He passed away 20 years ago, but his legacy lives on through me and my siblings. But he was from the South. He was from Texas, and then he joined the military, which took him to other parts of the U.S., but also took him overseas. And then after that, we got to California, and he became a Baptist minister. So you can imagine what contributed to his style. You know, a man from the South, he saw a little bit of the world, and then he got a little bit of that Southern Baptist flair in him as well. And he was modestly cool. You know, when he entered a room, your eyes drew to him, and I always, you know, being a son, I looked up to him. I admired him, and I admired his style. You know, he would be kind of conservative in his dress, but he would always have something that would accentuate his style. And that's what I did with the move bag. So the move bag, the straps are adjustable and convertible. So I have black straps, orange straps, and blue straps that you can change out of the bag. But the bag itself, it's masculine, it's strong, and it's pretty conservative alone. But after you add a little accent, a little flair to it, you know, it makes it unique to you. And that's why I put the you in move, to talk about you and your own personal style, your own flair. And yours too, Michael, for sure.
That's amazing. It's something you designed, but you made it for everyone. It kind of makes it personal. It really, really does. What did it take for you to actually build this bag? You talk about the different compartments in it thus far, but how long did it actually take you to get to something that you say, I'm satisfied, now I can share it with the world?
Ooh, yeah, I will tell anybody, you know, it's a passion work, because it takes a while. And then you throw in a pandemic, and it can even affect it even more. So yeah, you know what? I recall sketching the first design on a Southwest flight. You know, in my head, I was working, and I was thinking about what I needed that was going to be functional for me. And I just kind of jotted down a design and something that was convertible. And I took that little piece of paper on my Southwest napkin, and I had a friend who was connected to someone who was in the backpack industry. And I kind of gave him my idea. He helped me sketch it out. And he kind of walked me through the whole, because I was new to this whole thing. I had never been in fashion or anything. And so I truly was a novice in the business. And he started connecting me with manufacturers that were here in America, that were over in Southeast Asia. And I worked with them, and it took several prototypes until I got it to where I wanted, chose a manufacturer, and voila, we had a bag after, me beating it up a while, sending it back, saying, no, this is not going to work. I want a different material. I want some different hardware, different type of leather. But again, I did that because I said I want people to enjoy as much as I am, but I'm not going to put it out to the world unless I myself is going to be happy with it. I'm going to want to wear it every day. So that's what I've done.
Wow, and you're doing it, bro. You're doing it. So why the name Move, right? Why not just name it after you?
Ah, good question. Because the reason that I developed the bag in the first place, because I was always on the move and I wanted something that could accentuate my lifestyle. I was, and I still am, I was going to work, then I would be on the weekends going on a weekend getaway. And I wanted to have something I could just throw some clothes in. Like I said, I loved riding my bike. I loved going to the coffee shop just to take out some time to read. And I wanted something that was going to move along with me when I'm on the move. And so I said, yeah, you know what? And I kind of felt like it was in a lot of ways a movement of people being active, a movement of people expressing themselves, and I really love the uniqueness of the bag, but also the uniqueness of what people can do with it themselves. So that's where it originated.
I love that because now I feel that it is a movement because now COVID is kind of lifting and now everyone can go back and be on the move in their own special ways. So I love that concept. So when you brought this to the attention of the public, what was some of the feedback that you received?
Oh man, I'm probably a little biased, but everybody has told me great things. I mean, the bags want to wear. This is a limited edition bag. Like right now, I have one bag, one color. I have the different straps, but I still feel like it's early on in development. Next steps, I'll be developing more products. But with this limited edition, I mean, they've been flying off the shelf, and I haven't. I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I have not had anybody return the bag saying, "Hey, I don't like this bag at all." People give me great feedback, and they also send me pictures, which I love. They show themselves on the move, and I encourage that. Say, hey, send me your pictures when you're on the move and how you're rocking the bag, and then I'll post it for you. So I got to see you, Mike. I want to see you rocking the move bag, and I could tell you got some style, some flair, man. So,
bro, you have me sold. You really have me sold. I've been looking. I was like, these bags are hot. They really are. So what's next? Because I see you just have the bags. I'm envisioning luggage. I see so much more. But what do you see in the future for this movement?
That's a great question. One thing I've got a lot of requests for is for the bag to be more designed for women, right? So I have a lot of clients who are women, but the bag was kind of built for men. I kind of had it for myself. So the bag is genuine leather accents. It's ballistic nylon, and then the hardware is antique brass, right? So it's a durable bag. Has 8 pockets throughout the bag. So again, functionality was one of my main goals. So I am carrying my wallet, I'm carrying lunch, I'm carrying my sunglasses, my keys. Sometimes I've got clothes in there, and I literally take this bag with me everywhere. And I've had people tell me the same thing. So to your question, like, what are people telling me? They're telling me I use my bag daily, and it meets all my daily needs, which was the whole goal of me designing the bag in the first place.
I love that. I love it. Even when you were talking, I'm just like, it'll be bad, right? Being good, and like it'll be bad if I had some on the move shoes too. So I'm on the move with my bag. I'm doing it my footwear. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing ideas.
Come on, Michael. You got the whole line.
Let's go. The whole. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
We dream about our biggest dreams coming true. Let's dream them bigger, right? And season 5 for us is our biggest dream show. Our dream is biggest dream season. So I was able to write my own theme song and sing it as well, because this, thus far in my life, is my biggest dream come true. Is this line your biggest dream come true?
Oh man, that's one thing that my dad instilled in me, man, and that was to dream big, and nothing was unattainable. You could attain anything you want. And one of the things he really wanted before he passed away is for us to have a family business. He always had a big entrepreneurial spirit. and I'm sure that was, he prayed about that a lot. And I feel like I'm living vicariously through him, that I'm able to do this on his behalf. So yeah, man, I don't want to, the sky is the limit. I know that, God has bigger plans for me. And I see this line growing. Like I said, if it's going to be another bag that's milk for women, I'm thinking about a kind of a duffel bag that's be for people who are going to the gym, luggage for when you're traveling, that's a little bit larger than the current move bag. So yeah, I think, I just want to be able to see where God leads me in this, and I can just design whatever folks need and whatever comes to my heart.
I love it. Keep going, bro. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And in this process too, in your awesome bag and designing and going through the process, what did you learn about yourself in this process?
That one, that I could definitely multitask. When I developed this bag, I was working, over 40 hours a week at a job that I had been in for a long time. And I think I told myself that I didn't have the time, I didn't have the capacity. And I freed that up. I told myself, you have more capacity than you think you have. If you got to stay up to midnight to make your dreams come true, you got to stay up to midnight. If you got to work on the weekends, you got to work on the weekends. So I think it was really just learning that there's no barriers that you can put in front of you if you really want to pursue your dreams and make them come true. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you're doing it, bro. You're doing it. Much success to you, my dear brother, when it comes down to your line. How can the Think Fam purchase this amazing bag or bags, right?
Yeah.
And how can we follow you on social media as well?
Cool. First of all, let me do this, Michael. Let me show you the bag. You can see
There's
it.
the bag, Think Fam. Look at that.
Yeah, the move bag. You'll see the empty brass hardware, and then my logo there with the rabbit on the move.
Love that. That's so fancy.
And then, like I said, you can convert it like this. It turns into messenger bag with one pull, and as a backpack, you can turn around here. It's a backpack as well. Like I said, a lot of room inside. I've got nothing but rave reviews, and the first rave review comes from myself. If the world's to trust me, it's a great bag. So yeah, you can purchase the bag at movebags.com. So that's MOUVEBAGS.com. You can purchase the bags there, as well as the straps. Here are orange straps and blue straps that I have. Like I said, you can buy those separately as a package, and they just easily are interchangeable with the black back straps that come with the bag. And then on social media, follow me at Move Me on Instagram. So it's MOUVEME, and you'll see the orange rabbit as my logo, and follow me there on Instagram.
All right, Think Fam, you heard it here. Go buy the bags. I'm going to buy you a bag, I promise you. And once I buy it, I'm going to show it to the world. Thank you so much for being with us. An amazing product. Keep going, keep designing, keep going, because there's much more for you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Michael, man.
You're welcome. Think Fam, don't go away. Back in a moment.
Right.
Is your Louisiana girl Denise Boutte coming at you on the Michael Finkley Show. And you guys may know me from Why Did I Get Married as the really sweet girl Trina, or maybe Meet the Browns as Sasha. But I'm coming at you guys from the great state of California, but originally from Louisiana, because you know I can't lose that Southern girl, baby. All right, you guys stay tuned to Michael Finkley.
CTR Media Network was created for today's podcasters. We provide a safe haven for content creators that are everyday people doing extraordinary things. We have a system of positioning, monetization training, coaching, and support for our podcasters' success. CTR Media Network simply bridges that gap with a level playing field for your dreams to come true cost effectively. Our team provides a premium service and experience for our podcasters to grow. CTR Media Network provides access, support, resources, coaching, and community for our podcasters to win, if you put in the work. We believe that we are living in a unique time which requires you to share your message of hope with millions of people around the world. Remember that the world is never too saturated for you, your voice and message. A platform for positive, impactful media where the content creators are in the driver's seat. Visit our website today by going to www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
This is comedian Eric Escobar, the Mexipino millennial, and you are watching Gold right now. You know why? Because you're watching The Michael Finkley Show. Stay tuned.
On the next Michael Finkley, cast of the drama series Sangre Negra, Black Blood, Antonio McKay, Billy Ray Smith, Stoney Jackson. Next Finkley. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something from this interview today. Thank you so much, Rapone, for being with us and just being who you are in this amazing, amazing game of business entrepreneurship. You're very inspirational, encouraging. I'm definitely going to get my bag. Okay, definitely get my bag. Think fam, get yours as well. The information in the description below. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and you're always welcome back here on the Michael Finkley Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show. Ring that bell for notification. We'll send you an email saying, hey, new content is available. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. For more information about what we do, visit our website, michaelfinkleyshow.com. Again, we're on Roku TV. We're on Amazon as well via their podcast platforms. And to continue to watch, continue to support, thank you so much again for your support, your encouraging words, even the naysayers as well. Thank you. We appreciate you. And always remember, Fink fam, to pursue your dreams. Thank you so much for watching again, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
I gave my client her first makeup experience.
All right, so y'all let me know when. I wish y'all could see behind the scenes with all these cameras at me right now.
Her reaction meant everything to me.
Count of three, turn around. 1, 2, 3.
I thought she didn't like it at first because of her gasp.
I can't cry, I can't cry, I can't cry, I can't cry. I can't cry, I can't cry, I can't cry. Oh my goodness, who is that? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
It's supposed to be mine. It's for honey. Somebody cute over here.
I am Terry Coleman, the Financialista, and a lot of people know me as the Loan Whisperer, the Loan Doctor. If you need a home or a commercial property, I'm your girl. I have done so many loans where other people are getting turned down. Major banks are turning clients down.
I am disgusted.
But I do want to let you guys know I work for United Security Financial. I also have my own company, Global Key Capital, and I do loans in pretty much all 50 states. So what does that mean for all the listeners on CTR? You do not just have to live in Georgia or Alabama or South Carolina. You can be almost anywhere in the United States, and I can get you hooked up with the keys.
CTR Media Network has amazing opportunities to expand the visibility of business owners, entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, and podcasters on our platform. Would you like to be interviewed on any of our podcasting shows where we're booking right now? So go to ctrmedianetwork.com. Would you like to have an ad in our upcoming Podcast Revolution magazine? Well, simply go to our website and place your ad today. We also have commercial placement opportunities. We would love to play your commercial during the airing of our CTR Media Network Live and the Tina Ramsey Show. We would love to partner with you. If you feel that your business is a right fit, contact us about our sponsorship opportunities. CTR Media Network has a variety of different opportunities to fit every budget. So reach out to us by going to ctrmedianetwork.com and book the appropriate ad for yourself today.
Now this don't make no sense at all. You know you bad. Take your foot off these folk neck. Ooh, I don't know how much more of this beauty I can take. You can't be giving us all that at once. You're gonna have to give it to us in increments because, baby, you bad. Love you, bye.
My name is Esau McKnight, actor, stuntman, martial artist. Today, I did an episode of the Tina Ramsey Show. She is so amazing. I had such a great time chatting with Tina. What a professional effort she always puts forward. Thank you so much for having me, Tina.